There are moments in the history of American coinage that turn something ordinary into something unforgettable, and the 1985 United States 1-cent penny error is one of those moments. For most people, a penny seems so small, so insignificant, often ignored at the bottom of a drawer or left behind in a store's coin tray. But what if I told you that a simple 1985 penny, a coin you might not even bend down to pick up from the sidewalk, could actually be worth between $50,500 and an astounding $134,000? That's the unbelievable truth behind the rare 1985 error penny, a coin that has transformed from everyday pocket change into a collector's dream. To understand why this coin has gained such legendary status, it helps to remember what the penny represented during the 1980s. The Lincoln cent had already been in circulation since 1909, when Victor David Brenner's iconic design featuring President Abraham Lincoln first appeared to honor the centennial of his birth. By 1985, the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, had been in use since 1959, and the penny had become one of the most familiar coins in the hands of Americans. Millions of these cents poured out of the United States Mint every year, and people hardly gave them a second thought. They bought candy, gum, newspapers, and countless other items with them. In fact, by the mid-1980s, inflation had already diminished the purchasing power of the penny, making it feel even less valuable in the eyes of the general public. But while most pennies went unnoticed, a few 1985 Lincoln cents came out of the mint carrying errors that would turn them into priceless treasures. Error coins are fascinating because they happen when the perfection of the minting process goes just slightly off track. The mint operates with precision and accuracy, but the sheer volume of coins being struck means mistakes do happen. In 1985, some pennies were struck with errors like double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, or planchet flaws that altered the final look of the coin. These mistakes might sound small, but to coin collectors, they are monumental. Each error is unique, each one creating a coin that stands apart from the millions of ordinary pennies. And because so few of these mistakes make it past the mint's quality control, surviving examples are incredibly rare. It is that combination of rarity and historical significance that elevates a 1985 error penny into the realm of six-figure value. Now imagine the thrill of discovery. Picture a coin roll hunter sitting at a table, slowly working through rolls of pennies from the bank. It's a tedious process, coin after coin sliding through their fingers, most of them ordinary, until suddenly one penny stands out. Perhaps the lettering looks slightly off, or Lincoln's portrait appears doubled in a way that isn't normal. The collector holds it closer, heart racing, then grabs a magnifying glass to examine it more carefully. The doubling is real, the date matches, and the penny in their hand is one of the rare error varieties. In that moment, what was once worth 1 cent becomes a coin that could be valued anywhere from $50,500 all the way up to $134,000 if the condition is pristine. It is that moment of transformation, that spark of realization, that makes error coins like the 1985 penny so captivating. When one of these coins makes it to auction, the energy is electrifying. Collectors know exactly what is at stake, and bidders waste no time in showing their determination. The auctioneer begins, the first numbers are modest, but they climb rapidly. 10,000, 20,000, 40,000. Then the coin's rarity becomes clearer to everyone in the room, and the bidding war intensifies. 50,500 is surpassed, and the crowd begins to hold its breath. The bids climb even higher, 60,000, 80,000, 100,000. At that point, it isn't just about the coin, it's about owning a piece of history, a treasure that very few people in the world will ever touch. By the time the gavel comes down at $134,000, the room erupts in applause, and the coin's legend grows even stronger. What makes this story even more remarkable is how ordinary the coin itself appears at first glance. It's still a Lincoln cent, bearing the same design millions of others do, yet the tiny differences created by minting errors make it a star. To the untrained eye, it could sit in a pile of change without raising suspicion. To a collector, however, those subtle details mean everything. A misplaced letter, an extra line in Lincoln's portrait, or a strike that doesn't align perfectly transforms the coin into a one-of-a-kind artifact. It's like finding a secret hidden in plain sight, a message left behind by history, waiting for the right person to notice it. The fascination with the 1985 error penny goes beyond its monetary value. It's about the thrill of discovery, the idea that hidden treasures are still out there waiting to be found. Somewhere right now, one of these pennies could be resting in a forgotten jar of change, sitting in a drawer, or passing through someone's hands at a gas station. The owner might not even realize what they have, dismissing it as just another old penny. And yet, with just a closer look, that same coin could reveal itself as a treasure worth more than most cars, more than many homes, more than a lifetime of ordinary pennies could ever add up to. This coin is also a reminder of the beauty of imperfection. In a world where uniformity and precision are often prized, it is the mistake, the error, the deviation from the norm that creates something truly extraordinary. The 1985 error penny carries with it a lesson. Sometimes it is the flaws that give something its true value. Collectors know this, and it is why they chase after these coins with such passion. The stories that surround these pennies add to their mystique. There are accounts of collectors who stumbled upon one by accident, not realizing at first what they had until a more experienced eye pointed it out. There are tales of lucky finds in inherited coin jars, where decades-old collections suddenly revealed treasures worth six figures. These stories feed the dream of discovery, inspiring more and more people to search, to look closely at the coins they encounter, hoping to catch a glimpse of that same magic. Think about the journey of one of these coins. Minted in 1985, it slipped through the production line carrying an error that no one noticed at the time. It entered circulation, spent on snacks, bus fares, or tucked away into savings jars. It lived its life as an ordinary penny, passed from hand to hand for years. Then one day, someone finally noticed its unusual features. In that instant, its destiny changed. No longer just a piece of pocket change, it became a rare and priceless collectible, destined for auction houses, collector showcases, and history books. That transformation, from ordinary to extraordinary, is the heart of what makes the 1985 penny error so compelling. For collectors and dreamers alike, the 1985 era penny is a symbol of possibility. Proves that hidden treasures are out there, waiting to be found in the most unexpected places. It reminds us that even the smallest things can carry enormous value, and that fortune can appear when we least expect it. Whether it sells for $50,500 or climbs all the way to $134,000, this coin will always stand as a testament to the thrill of the hunt and the joy of discovery. So the next time you come across a penny, don't ignore it. Don't toss it aside or let it slip away without a glance. Take a closer look. Examine the date, study the details, and consider the possibility that what you hold in your hand might not be just another coin. It might be history. It might be one of those rare treasures that turn a simple cent into something worth a fortune. The 1985 era penny proves that legends still live among us, hidden in the change we carry every day, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and an open mind to uncover them. And who knows, maybe the next great discovery is already in your pocket. The 1996 United States 1-cent penny error is one of those captivating stories that keeps collectors on the edge of their seats and makes ordinary people pause for a moment when they hear what it could be worth. A penny, a coin most of us barely notice, becomes the center of fascination when something unusual happens during its creation. And in 1996, the mint produced pennies with errors that turned what was supposed to be a simple 1-cent coin into a piece of history valued far beyond its face value. Imagine the surprise of realizing that a coin you might casually drop into a jar or leave at the bottom of your pocket could be worth as much as $43,000 on the low end, and in some remarkable cases as high as $125,000. That extraordinary leap from a cent to six figures makes the 1996 penny error one of the most exciting treasures in modern numismatics. To appreciate why this coin carries so much intrigue, you have to step into the context of the time. By 1996, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for nearly 90 years. First introduced in 1909 with Victor David Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. On the reverse, since 1959, Americans had grown accustomed to seeing the Lincoln Memorial, an image that itself symbolized strength, honor, and national pride. For decades, the Lincoln Memorial reverse was a familiar part of daily life. Millions of people handled these coins every day, rarely looking at them twice. But in 1996, mistakes during production slipped through the mint's tight controls, and those mistakes gave rise to pennies that stood out to the trained eye. For collectors, those errors weren't just small differences, they were tickets to owning something incredibly rare and valuable. Error coins happen when something in the minting process doesn't go according to plan. Every coin is supposed to look exactly the same, but the speed and intensity of mass production sometimes cause deviations. Dies wear out, misalign, or strike planchets incorrectly. Sometimes a planchet intended for another denomination is mistakenly fed into the press. Other times, the coin is struck multiple times, creating overlapping impressions. Whatever the reason, Those imperfections create coins that are instantly more intriguing than their flawless counterparts. And in 1996, several varieties of error pennies were born, ranging from subtle misalignments to dramatic off-center strikes and double dies that left collectors astonished. Among the most exciting 1996 penny errors are the double die varieties, where parts of Lincoln's profile or the inscriptions on the coin show doubling. To the untrained eye, it may look like a blur or shadow, but to collectors, that doubling represents a rare and valuable mistake. Off-center strikes are another category, where Lincoln's face appears shifted to the side and part of the coin surface is left blank, a striking visual that instantly signals something unusual. There are also wrong planchet errors, where a penny's design ended up on the blank for a dime or another denomination. When you hold such a coin in your hand, the difference in size, weight, and appearance makes it unmistakably special. Each of these errors tells a story of how something slipped past the mint's quality control and found its way into circulation, giving rise to one of the most thrilling discoveries in modern pocket change. But what makes these errors truly exciting isn't just their appearance, it's their value. When collectors see a 1996 penny error, they don't just see copper-plated zinc. They see rarity, history, and the potential for life-changing sums of money. At auctions, these coins have commanded astonishing prices, often soaring well beyond initial estimates. Some have sold for around $43,000, while others, in particularly pristine condition or with exceptionally dramatic errors, have reached as high as $125,000. Those figures aren't theoretical. They're real numbers achieved in bidding wars among collectors who understand just how scarce and desirable these coins are. What drives those values is the perfect combination of rarity and demand. Millions of 1996 pennies were produced, but only a tiny fraction bear errors. Among those, only a handful are in high-grade condition, which means they've survived the years without heavy wear. Add to that the natural curiosity of collectors who love finding something unusual, and you have a recipe for a coin that's not only valuable but also legendary in the eyes of those who pursue it. Even beyond the collecting community, the idea that a penny could be worth six figures captures public imagination. It makes people check their change, inspect their coin jars, and wonder whether fortune could be hiding in the most unlikely of places. Think about it for a moment. Most of us don't even bother bending down to pick up a penny from the sidewalk. Yet here is proof that a single cent from 1996, if it carries the right mistake, could command enough money to buy a car, pay for college tuition, or even make a serious down payment on a home. The contrast between the coin's face value and its potential market value is so extreme that it feels almost unreal. And yet it's very real, backed by auction records and collector enthusiasm. Part of what makes the 1996 penny error even more intriguing is that these coins were never meant to stand out. They were minted as part of the regular production run, meant to pass quietly from hand to hand. That means it's entirely possible that some are still out there, sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, and rolls of coins. The thought that one might be discovered at any time adds a layer of suspense and excitement. Collectors often talk about the thrill of the hunt, and with the 1996 penny error, that thrill is alive and well. Every coin you examine could, in theory, be the one that changes everything. Stories of these coins surfacing in the most ordinary places only fuel the fascination. Someone might find one at a flea market, in a box of inherited change, or while simply sorting through rolls from the bank. The randomness of discovery makes the chase irresistible. That's part of why videos, articles, and conversations about rare pennies go viral. They tap into that universal dream of striking it rich in the most unexpected way. And when you consider that the payoff could be anywhere from $43,000 to $125,000, it's easy to see why people get hooked. The 1996 penny error also represents a moment in coinage history just before major changes were about to happen. A little more than a decade later, the Lincoln Memorial Reverse would be retired in 2008, replaced by a series of new designs in 2009, and then permanently by the Shield Reverse in 2010. That makes the 1996 penny part of the closing chapter of the long-running memorial design, giving it historical weight beyond its error status. It's not just an unusual coin. It's a symbol of a design era that millions of Americans grew up with. For serious collectors, owning a 1996 penny error isn't just about the monetary value. It's about holding a piece of history, something that bridges the gap between the everyday and the extraordinary. When you place such a coin under magnification, you see details that no one else was supposed to see. The doubled inscriptions, the off-center strikes, the subtle flaws that turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's a reminder that even in a system built on precision and uniformity, imperfection has the power to create beauty and value. This is why collectors will continue to seek out the 1996 penny error for generations to come. It's a coin that embodies surprise, rarity, and potential. It reminds us not to take the small things for granted, because sometimes the smallest things can carry the biggest stories. And for anyone who stumbles upon one of these remarkable coins, the discovery could be life-changing. 1 cent, transformed by mistake, becomes a treasure worth up to $125,000. That is the magic of the 1996 penny error, and it's why people will never stop searching their change in hopes of finding one. The 2003 United States 1 cent penny is one of those fascinating reminders that even in the modern era of advanced minting technology, perfection is never guaranteed, and it is often within imperfection that the greatest treasures are found. For most people, a penny is simply a piece of change, a coin they might not even bother to pick up off the ground. It is small, lightweight, and in today's world almost feels insignificant in terms of monetary value. Yet for coin collectors and numismatists, the 2003 penny has become a symbol of how even the smallest denomination in circulation can hold extraordinary worth when errors are involved. What should have been just another 1 cent coin ended up carrying mistakes that slipped past the careful eyes of the mint, and those mistakes have turned ordinary coins into rare marvels valued anywhere between $38,000 and $110,000 depending on the nature of the error and the condition of the coin. To understand why the 2003 penny has become so intriguing, it helps to consider its place in the long-running history of the Lincoln cent. Since 1909, Abraham Lincoln's profile has been featured on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. The reverse in 2003 still displayed the Lincoln Memorial, a design created by Frank Gasparo that had been used since 1959. For decades, the Lincoln Memorial cent was an everyday part of American life, passed from hand to hand in millions of transactions. By 2003, billions of these copper-plated zinc coins had been minted, blending together in near-perfect uniformity. But among those billions, a few emerged with flaws that instantly set them apart. Error coins are prized in numismatics precisely because they represent a break from that uniformity. They are born out of accidents, mistakes that occur when dies are misaligned, planchets are wrong, or strikes go awry. The 2003 penny error has surfaced in a variety of forms, each one carrying its own appeal. Some are off-center strikes, where Lincoln's profile appears shifted and part of the design is missing. Others are double strikes, leaving behind ghostly outlines that make the coin appear as if it were stamped twice. Still others involve rare transitional or wrong planchet errors, where the penny was struck on a blank intended for another denomination. Each error tells its own story of how the mint's machines, despite their precision, are still capable of producing surprises. Imagine being one of the people who first discovered such an error in 2003. You open a roll of freshly minted pennies from the bank, expecting uniformity, and suddenly one coin looks odd. Perhaps the lettering along the edge is incomplete, or Lincoln's face seems to drift toward the rim. You set it aside, curious, and later learn that this tiny mistake could mean the difference between 1 cent and tens of thousands of dollars. Stories like this are what fuel the passion of collectors, because they remind us that hidden value can appear in the most unexpected of places. The financial side of the 2003 penny error is what really captures attention. These coins, depending on the severity and rarity of their mistakes, have been valued from $38,000 to as high as $110,000. That means a coin that most people would ignore on the sidewalk has the potential to be worth more than a luxury car or even a down payment on a house. This incredible price range creates engagement not just among seasoned collectors but also among everyday people who suddenly find themselves curious about the coins in their pockets. The dream of discovering a penny worth tens of thousands of dollars adds an air of mystery and excitement to what otherwise seems like the most mundane of objects. What makes the 2003 penny error so compelling is not just its financial value but also its symbolism. Lincoln's portrait, chosen to honor one of America's most revered presidents, is a constant reminder of resilience, leadership, and unity. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a place where people gather to reflect on history and ideals, represents permanence and continuity. To find errors on such a coin is almost ironic. It suggests that even the most enduring symbols are not immune to imperfection. Yet it is precisely those imperfections that give the 2003 penny its extraordinary worth. In this way, the coin becomes more than just a piece of currency. It becomes a metaphor for how flaws can create value, how mistakes can become history. Collectors who own or pursue these coins often describe the thrill as addictive. Searching through rolls of pennies, attending coin shows, bidding in auctions, each step is driven by the hope of finding or acquiring something rare. The discovery of a 2003 penny error is not just a financial gain but also a personal triumph, proof that patience, attention to detail, and persistence can pay off in remarkable ways. Each error coin is unique, like a fingerprint, and owning one is like owning a piece of minting history that will never be repeated. The market for these coins is fueled by both rarity and demand. With billions of pennies produced each year, the number of error coins that escape into circulation is incredibly small. This scarcity ensures that when one surfaces, it attracts significant attention. Auction houses have reported spirited bidding wars, with collectors competing fiercely to add these pieces to their collections. The final hammer prices, often falling within that $38,000 to $110,000 range, are testaments to just how much value collectors place on rarity and uniqueness. For the average person, the idea that a penny could be worth more than a brand new car seems unbelievable. Yet this is the magic of numismatics, the way history, art, and error combine to create something extraordinary out of the ordinary. The 2003 penny error stands as one of those stories that continues to inspire curiosity, drawing new eyes to coins and encouraging people to look more closely at the change they carry every day. It is important to remember that coins are not just money. They are artifacts, small pieces of metal that carry with them stories of the past, glimpses into history, and reflections of the people and processes that produced them. The 2003 penny error, with its flaws, encapsulates all of this. It tells the story of a mint that strives for perfection but sometimes falls short, a story of collectors who value the unusual over the ordinary, and a story of how even a coin is overlooked as the penny can achieve greatness. The legacy of the 2003 penny error will continue to grow as more discoveries are made and more collectors join the pursuit. Each coin that surfaces adds to the legend, each sale reinforces the value, and each story of discovery inspires others to take a closer look at their change. Somewhere out there, hidden in a jar of coins or tucked away in a forgotten drawer, may still lie one of these rare treasures waiting to be found. So the next time you see a penny, especially one from 2003, don't dismiss it as insignificant. Hold it up to the light, examine it carefully, and remember the stories of those who have discovered extraordinary value in what others overlooked. Because within that small piece of copper-coated zinc could lie a mistake that transforms 1 cent into a fortune. A mistake that carries history, rarity, and the potential for life-changing value. And perhaps, if fortune smiles upon you, the next 2003 penny error discovered could be the one in your hands. A coin that proves once again that greatness often hides in the smallest of places.